Hey there, how are you doing this Tuesday afternoon? I wanted to speak today about the difficulty that we have in owning our emotions. This is a challenge for most of us. Even teaching this stuff and working with so many clients, sometimes I find that when I'm going through an experience which is unpleasant, I want to dive right into analysis. I want to think about, why am I feeling this way? What's causing this? What's the story I'm telling myself about this? What does this remind me of? Where did something similar happen in my childhood? So I go really quickly into analysis mode. And I'm guessing many of you do this too, right? We have been so conditioned to question, to analyze, to ponder, that we don't know how to just be. Because pondering and analysis gives us a sense that we're doing something to problem solve. And so often in life, when something unpleasant happens to us, when we feel hurt or disappointed or rejected by someone, we experience a sense of abandonment or betrayal. The most useful thing in the moment would be to just be with that feeling, to just be with that emotion. And Mark Nepo, one of my favorite writers, speaks so eloquently about this. And I wanted to read a little extract from his book, The Book of Awakening. So this section is titled Beneath Problem Solving. Beneath most headaches is a heartache. Often we find it easier to think our way around things rather than to feel our way through them. What can we do to pull ourselves out of a bad mood? Does this sound familiar? We are so often thinking about, how can I get away from this? How can I stop having this experience instead of simply being with the experience? What can we do to pull ourselves out of a bad mood? What can we buy, remove, or repair that will reduce or solve a loved one's anger or sadness? In retrospect, I realize I have spent many hours problem solving emotional facts I just needed to feel. I know now that my frequent labors to understand what went wrong, while somewhat useful, often were distractions from feeling the sadness and disappointment necessary to heal and move on. Does this sound familiar? So often we are looking for a way not to feel what we need to feel. We're looking for the next feeling, the pleasanter feeling, the better feeling mood. And we are looking for ways to get to that. Maybe call a friend or check status updates on Facebook or drink a coffee, whatever that is for you, right? So he says, whereas he spent many hours trying to problem solve emotional problems, he just needed to feel them. He just needed to feel them. It's all very human. No one wants to feel pain, especially when you can't quite point to a specific cut or wound, right? When we can point to a specific wound and say, this is why my heart hurts at this time, then it's easier. But when we are feeling that low grade level of disappointment or depression, we can't quite put a finger on what's causing that sense of sadness. We think, I shouldn't be feeling this. I need to feel something better. I need to take action on moving forward. No one wants to feel pain, especially when you can't quite point to a specific cut or wound. So it is with the heart. There's nothing to show or stitch up, yet everything is affected. Isn't that a beautiful line? Just stay with it for a bit. There's nothing to show or stitch up, yet everything is affected. Because if your heart is hurting and you're not willing to be with your hurting heart, it affects every aspect of your life. It affects your work, your relationships, your sense of well-being, your health, how you deal with what's going on in the moment, everything. The truth is that while analyzing and strategizing and preparing ourselves can occupy our minds and may even help prevent us from being hurt the same way twice, there is no substitute for giving the wound air, which in the case of the heart means saying deeply, without aversion or self-pity, ouch. That's all we need to do when we are hurting. Just sit there and say, ouch. And what does that mean? It means just saying, my heart is hurting right now. And I'm okay, I'm willing to be with it. I'm not going to rush into a quick fix. I'm not going to try and cover it up. I'm not looking for the next distraction. I'm not going to run in search of the next better feeling, mood, or thought. I'm just going to be here. I'm not trying to explain it or justify it. I'm not going to tell myself, oh my gosh, I know so much. I'm so spiritual. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should move to consider what I need to be grateful for in this situation, all of which we all do, right? So what he's saying is analysis and strategy sometimes are useful because they can stop us from repeating that hurt twice, meaning when somebody does something you don't like, then you know you have allowed them to violate a boundary by betraying you or doing something that was not in your best interests. And going through that experience lets you know that you need to draw some boundaries. You need to speak your truth. You need to protect yourself in some ways. So while that has its use, there is no substitute to giving the wound air. I really like that. I love that line, which in the case of the heart simply means saying without aversion or self-pity, ouch. So what can we take away from this little passage? To me, it simply says, be with what you're feeling. It doesn't mean it's bad. You have to have judgments around it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to problem solve. Be okay with being human. Being human means having to go through life, encountering disappointments, rejections, betrayals, having people behave in ways that are not really kind. All of this is part of the human journey. And so when we can just be open to the fact that people may hurt us, we may go through situations that are not to our liking, but if we know that we can just be with that feeling, we can be with that emotion without feeling the need to run away or escape in a hurry, that would be the true learning. So I hope you had a little aha moment from this. Post and let me know. Oh, hi, Phyllis. It's so good to hear from you. You have been in hiding, my friend. It's really good to see you. So if you had an aha moment from what I just below the video, if you have a question around something that I said that's coming up for you in the moment, post that as well. I'd be happy to read your thoughts, your comments, your questions, and I look forward to carrying on this conversation. I hope this was useful. Thank you for those who are watching live, and thank you to everyone who watched the replay as well. All right, take care, my friends. Sending you so much love.